I feel like we missed something there, but oh well. People smarter than I will have, or more patient than I should
Stepping
say.
into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
It is pretty calming. I do love how it punishes you for putting the code in early.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
This game's a trip.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
Escape.
Control Facility.
We can
Although
run
this
for it.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh no.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward
Indeed.
and willingly confront his death.
Uh-huh. Goodbye, cruel world.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Well, goodbye. Oh.
Farewell,
Nice.
Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oop. The Stanley
And yet it
Parable.
would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path that Stanley... From Stanley's office to the two doors of the first part of the game that was built. The filing cabinets. Office computers. The office. Button sounds. Oh, I do like one. But I think I would go with two. Credits. Maintenance room. Fun. Warzone. Early in development, it's an ending where Stanley would end up, on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become Satan and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the turn of the game. Plus, some people interpret it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Ultra Deluxe announcements. Dear narrator. Oh. How do you make a JRPG? How do you make the worst game ever? What's the difference between a duck and what? From a cool man. Are you a rock? Plan to use further promotional materials. We never found the perfect use for them. Here, a selection of the emails. The lounge. It is interesting to think like how much of this is actual stuff and how much of this is them just being funky. Oh. There's a vent in the lounge. Interesting. Or there. Zendin model. Trailers. Oh. It's very quiet. Weirdly, I get a slight Eve vibe from this one. Just like the whole gallery aesthetic. It just kind of makes me want like an Eve-like game, but in 3D now. Countdown desk.
Stanley stood on the roof. Then he pushed the number 8. Stanley stood on the snow. Oh, for crying! Is this that other building? When Stanley came to the lift, he traveled upward to the power source at the top of the facility to end this injustice forever. And finally, he pushed the number 9. Where were all of his co-workers? Stanley I don't know. How about they're throwing a surprise party for him?
Well, we'll leave him there. Freedom ending. Lots of neat stuff. The different offices. Yeah, like I said, I would kind of want like a 3D game now.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another.
I don't wish to destroy them.
How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep going.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
My choice was to let it happen. I wasn't letting time choose it for me. Oh. Oh. Welcome, Stanley, to heaven. Look at all the buttons. Just realised that voice is just saying buttons over and over again. It doesn't look like they're resetting. No, they are. Damn it. Once again, I would not be surprised if people spent a long time in this room trying to find like a secret or some hidden thing, like you push the same color or the one color or something. But we did find all the buttons. I'm going to assume that's something, yeah, we could do whatever we want.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Gonna show the
Stanley
bucket.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It simply is.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Thank you, bucket.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Hi.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Hey, no, that's the meeting room. Wait, this is taking us back to the confusing ending with the bucket.
Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd
Oh, my
find this
word.
place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Do we get the music?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
We get the music, so that's something.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Is it the bucket? Oh, this is a very long staircase.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Goodbye, bucket.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
That is really bright. Ugh.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Oh. I think things are slightly different.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
I want to
Stanley knew
see
it
if we
perfectly
can
well.
A, get the
Perhaps he
figure,
wanted to
and
stop
two,
by the employee
do
lounge
the other
first, just to
ending that
admire
we
it.
got stuck on with the door.
Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
We did it.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Yay!
Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that.
Exactly.
So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay. Sense of accomplishment. Wee.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you?
No.
What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory.
Oh, no.
I bet each and every
There's a
time you
reward.
watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
I'm sorry. Oh. Okay.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
Okay.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
I mean, why does it have to be just one more time? Now remember, Stanley found the collectibles. Oh no.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
We got 7. Should I be concerned?
And here was the second Stanlurine. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I think it was the blue... Yeah, I think it was this one.
Hey, that's exactly right.
Hey.
It was here by the red and blue doors. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Yes.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
It is a nice room.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
This is shockingly spot on. Best boy. Stanley.
Takes you back, doesn't it?
Very
I
much
spent
so.
a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Well, that's funky.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here in the warehouse. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Goodbye.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on.
Oh?
Stop the loading screen.
Okay.
Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Okay.
Okay, yes, this spot in the warehouse. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Do we get to watch the video again? It's the important part, after all.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yeah.
Yes, I love that video.
It's great. Then the pink room.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Yeah. I do like it.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
I was low-key tempted to see if I could go the other way, but I'm curious to see how this
the very
turns out.
first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Stanlurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
It honestly feels like that would be a good place to end. Seems oddly fitting. But we will do one more.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just
mainly
to admire
because I'm getting hungry.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business.
And it's also the
Stanley
type of
took
thing
the first open
so
door
many
on his
different ways we
left.
could do more things.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone
Yep.
you've forgotten about.
Really?
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how
Maybe
to
we should just
convince
go
you
through
of
the red
this,
door
but
this
I
time.
really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me
Why
a
not?
chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
Oh.
Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
It is quite pretty. Ooh. Ooh. Look at those colors. Well, time for us to go.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
I'm thinking about it. Well,
No!
no.
Oh, thank God you lived. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Because there's no way back. But back.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
Okay.
Can you do that for me? Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about.
Ooh. Different colors.
I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
No. But I like the colors. Although that might be the blood loss talking. Okay.
No, perhaps not.
So once more we climb the stairs.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game?
No.
That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Well, this is a much more of a downer of a ending than I was hoping for, considering the figurine one was all optimal and hopeful and whatnot, and time to move on.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
But yeah, I know there's definitely things we've missed. There's definitely more endings, and if people want, I'm happy to do more. I like the game. I like the Parable of Stanley. However, I don't... It's reached the point where, outside of like one or two things, I think we're definitely going to be hitting that point where we're going to have to try things in a more meticulous manner. And I don't know how interesting that will be. And then, of course, you have the... I could just look up a guide and see everything, but then that also takes away some of the fun, potentially. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide what happens. We'll see from there. Either way, this has still been the Stanley Parable. I still enjoy this game. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye. Sorry, this has been the Stanley Parable 2. Bye-bye.